Assalamu alaikum dear students, how are you? I hope you all are fine by the grace of Almighty Allah. I am also fine. Welcome to NIPS Home School. Here I am Kamrun, Assistant Teacher of English, National Ideal English Version School Day Shift. My dear students of class 6, today I am going to take your English second paper. And now today's topic is preposition. Today we will discuss prepositions, that means the prepositions of time and place and the prepositions of movements. So let's start the class today. So at first we will try to understand the prepositions of movements. And now look, there is a circle for you. It will be easy way to know the use of prepositions. You will just remember this circle. Okay, now look, dear students, if something is in an enclosed area, we will use in, inside of, or within. And if something wants to enter into this circle, we will use into. And if something wants to go outside from the circle, we will use out of. And if something come to this circle, we will write to. We will use to. And if something starts from this point, we will use from. And now look, from this point, we will start away from, that means something is go away from this surface. And if there is any direction, if something is going towards, going to any direction, we will use towards. And now look, onto, it will, there will be a movement or movement to position on a surface. The movement of of a position in a surface. So there will be movements, and we can also use around. Movement in a circular way, we can use around. If something moves in a circular way, we can use around. And now we will go to on, over, and above. And when do you use on? We will use on when something touches the surface. And we use over, there will be a movement, that means a movement at a higher level than something else. And we use above when there is no movement, like there is a picture above my head and the birds are flying over the tree. That means they are passing something. Okay, boys, okay, dear students. So dear students, we will use this preposition, and all of you will remember this circle. And now look, there are three prepositions: under, below, and beneath. We can use under when something touches the surface. That means they are below something, and we can also use beneath. And we can use below when there is something which do not touch the surface. So dear students, there are we can use those prepositions to indicate lower than something, to lower than something. And when we use under, that means something which touch, which lower than something but touch the surface. And we use below when the object or something does not touch the surface, but their position is lower than the surface. So dear students, we can use other prepositions which are in your book, and I have said it, we will use from the place where it starts. And if there is something which is back, at the back of this circle, we will use behind. And if something is next to the circle, we will use beside. And we can also use up and down, that means something which is go upwards, in this direction. And we can also use down, that means from high to low. And we will use up from low to high. So dear students, Now I am going to show you the book, that means the board book English Grammar and Composition, page number 23. You can also go through this position of this preposition. There are many prepositions like in, inside, on, at, near, under, over, below, above, round, around, through, among, between, behind, in front of, along, across, up, down, opposite, onto, of, into, out of, past, then, next, to, by, beside, against, over, from, to, toward. So dear students, all of you will go through this preposition too. And now look, there is another thing. Now when do we use through? That means you are crossing from one point to another. That means there is a movement from one side to another, but in something. Like long grasses or a forest. And you can also use across. The through and across are almost same, but there is a difference, a little difference. That means across means if you want to use across, there will be also a movement from one side to the opposite side, but you will not go through something. That means you will go through the opposite of road or river. And you can also use along. When we use along, that means there is a movement of something in a line that follows the side of something long, like we went for a walk along the beach, like this. We use along when there is a line that follows the side of something which is very long, and we use across when there is a movement from one side to another side, to the opposite side, like road or river. And we will use through when there is a movement from one side to another side, but you will there is a movement in something, like on a long grass or in a forest. So when you walk in a forest, we will use through. Okay, dear students, now we will go to prepositions of time and place. So most of the time we use in, on or at in this to show time and place. Now look, there is a triangle for you. Now at first we will know in, and we use in a general way. That means in a bigger way, general or bigger. Now look, the triangle here is bigger. Now look, at first we will start with the time, then we will go to the place. Now look, when do we use in? That means when the time is big or in general way. Now look, centuries, like the 90s, decades, the centuries, that means the 1900s, that means the 19th centuries, and decades mean the 90s, like and we know that decades means 10 years, like years in 1990, in 2000 or in 2021, then months in March or in June. Now look, that means it's not specific. In March there are 30 days, so it's a very big, it's a very long period of time, like weeks, in 5 weeks or in 2 weeks or in weeks, that means there are 7 days. Seasons, like in summer, in spring, in winter. Then period of time, like in the future, holidays, the Easter holiday or the Eid holiday, or in the Eid holiday we can also mention this one, or parts of the day, like in the morning, in the evening. But there's exceptional, like at night, we use at before night. Now we will go to the place, when we use in. Now look, when we mention the countries, cities, or now look, neighborhood or enclosed space, we will use in. Now countries like France or Bangladesh, in France, cities like in Paris, in Dhaka, the neighborhood. Now look, Manhattan, in Manhattan, or our neighboring neighborhood like Dhaka, in Narayanganj, enclosed space in a car, in a in a building, like this. So if you find enclosed space, enclosed area, like a neighborhood, like in India or in Kumilla, like this, we will use in. Now look, that means in a general way which are not specific. Which are not specific, we will use in. But when it is more specific, we will use on. Now look, on is in a smaller sense. Now look, again we will start it with time, holidays with day. So if there is any holiday with day, like Easter day, Eid day, Christmas day, we will use on Christmas day, on Eid day, on Easter day. So days of the week like Sunday, Monday, we will use on Sunday, on Monday, on Tuesday, like this. On dates. Now look, on dates, like on April 23rd, that means on 3rd April or April 23rd. That means if we write date, we will use on before them. But if there's only the name of the month, now look, March, June, January, February, July, August, we will use in. Now specific days like birthday, we will use on my birthday. Then specific time on the weekend. That means I mean, which one is our weekend? Like Friday, on Friday, or like on the weekend. Now the part of the day or the part of day, like Sunday morning or Monday morning or Sunday evening, we will use on Sunday morning, we will use on. Now we will go to the place. When do we use on? Now look, if there is a name of the streets, avenues or surfaces or means of transport or communications, we will use on. Now look, Columbus Street, it is the name of a street, so we will use here on Columbus Street. Now avenues, on 7th Avenue or the South Avenue, we will use on. Then if there is any surface on the floor, we will use on, or on the table. Now look, means of transport, like on a bus. That means the transport where you can walk. I repeat, the transport where you can walk, we will use on a bus, on a train, on a plane. Then the communications, like the radio, on the radio, we will use on when it is more specific. Either it can be time or it can be place. Or we will use in when we generalize something, I mean, that means when we make a big sense. So in this situation we will use in for both time and space. Now we will go to smallest part, that means which one is very specific, which one is very much specific. That means at, that the smallest one. Now look, if you mention hours like 8 am or pm or 6 am or pm, you will use at, and like parts of the day, at midnight, we will use at. That means if there is a point of time as a point of reference, if there is any point of reference, we will use at lunch time, at dinner time, or at 3:45 pm, or we can also say at 3:45 pm in the afternoon. We know that we will use parts of the day in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, but there is exception at night, at midnight, okay, or when we specify the time, it will be at, like at lunch time, at dinner time, at 4 pm in the evening, or at in the afternoon, or at 6 am in the morning, like this. So if there is any moment, at that moment we will use at. Now if there is any holidays without the day, just like Easter or Eid or Christmas we will use at, not on. And when there is a day with the holidays, we will use on. And when there is a holiday without the word day, we will use at. And now look, when it is more specified, that means like address or specific locations, we will use at. Now look, 456 State Street. So this is the address. We will use at in front of this address. And if there's any specific locations on the station, on the bus, at the station, at the bus stop, we will use at. Like I am at school, we will use at when it is very specific. So in general, we will use in for both time and place. So when it is more specific, we will use on. That means when it is a little bit smaller part than than the previous one, we will use on for both time and place. And when it is very specific, we will use at for both time and place. So dear students, that's all for today, and all of you will go through your book, that means the board book English Grammar and Composition, page number 22 and 23, and you will know about the use of more prepositions. So dear students, I hope you have understood today's topic, and there is a homework for you, which is from your book English Grammar and Composition, page number 23, exercise 1 to 10. So it will be your homework, page 23, exercise 1 to 10, and this is homework number 6. So you will do your homework from your board book English Grammar and Composition, this one for class 6. So dear students, I hope you have understood our today's topic. That's all for today, and all of you will do your homework regularly and submit it on every Saturday from 9 am to 3 pm. So Allah Hafiz, see you again.